okay, the first way you earn, you get a 25% commission based on when people order from you. The second way is when you start to build a team, everything that they do, everything that they buy and sell, you get like Beachbody's gonna pay you like a 5% match on that. That's kind of how it works out. Like when you get 200 volume on one side and 100 volume on the other, and you get like that $18 cycle, that works out to about 5% of what's being sold in your downline, as long as your legs are even. So when I'm talking to someone, I tell them 2 ways you earn. First, the 25% commission. Second way is, as you build a team, Beachbody's gonna pay you like a 5% match of everything that the coaches in your team, your downline, are buying and selling. And there's some checks and balances, obviously. You gotta keep your legs balanced and hit a certain rank. So that's kind of how I explain the 2 ways. So I'm gonna talk about that second way, the team cycle bonus, that kind of that 5% match that Beachbody pays you. So the reason I was like a couple minutes late, because I was trying to write this backwards so that you guys could read it. So after I talked to my coach, like a brand new coach, on my first call about, you know, the kind of the big picture mindset, their why, their belief, and we talk about those 5 skills. Then I kind of let those things sink in for a while before I do a second call with them, usually like a week or 2. And the second call, this is what I'm going to talk to them about. And the first thing I do is I get them on a Zoom, and I have them go into their coach online office, and I have them go to their graphical genealogy. And what they're going to see in their graphical genealogy is them right here. This would be like their coach, or this would be them. I don't know if this is kind of a glare. So if they don't have any coaches yet, this thing's going to erase. If they don't have any coaches yet, hopefully, like, between the time you sign them up and the time you get them on that second call, they're going to hopefully have a couple coaches on one leg that you're going to be placing there for them. So they're going to go in there, and every time I do this with a coach and they go in and they see they have like 1 or 2 coaches in this one leg, they go, wait a second, who are those people? Like, where did they come from, and what do they have to do with me? And I'm like, this is like one of the coolest things about this business. It's team-based. Yeah, appreciate that. It's team-based. So I think a lot of people think that, you know, when they sign up with you, that when whatever work they do, that you're going to earn income off it, and it's a one-way street. It's not like that at all. When you sign people up, you're going to help them earn just as much as they're going to help you, because you're going to help build one of their legs for them. And that's what people really don't understand. When you bring them into that graphical genealogy and you show them this, they're going to get excited. They're going to be like, what is this? I don't get it. And then you explain to them, you say, you see this? I'm building one of these legs for you. Every single one of these coaches, every time they buy or sell something, you benefit from it. And I know you don't have any coaches signed up yet, but your team's already growing. And they start to get excited about that. So here's how I explain it to them. I tell them, okay, I know you haven't signed any coaches yet. I know you're brand new, but think of like this one leg that I'm going to be building for you. Think of it as like a bank account. So let's say like you're going to be building your coach's right leg, for example. You can say to them, hey, I know you haven't signed any coaches yet, but look at all these coaches. I got like 1 or 2 coaches over here on your right leg. Every time one of these coaches buys or sells something, think of it as like a deposit into your bank account, your right bank account. And no one can touch that bank account except for you. And every time, you know, that someone buys or sells, it's a deposit. It's a deposit. And there's going to be more and more deposits into that bank account over time. And it's only going to grow and grow and grow. And that bank account's never going to go anywhere. It's just going to sit there and grow and grow and grow. And all you got to do to take advantage of it is just get a couple good coaches on the other side. All of a sudden now, like those new coaches, they don't feel like they're starting from zero. They realize they already have like this thing that's already sitting there waiting for them, that's already growing. And now they have something that they can work towards. That's what I love about this business, is when I sign a coach up, I'm going to build them a bank account that they get to take advantage of. And I'm going to get them excited about that, and I'm going to show them what's going on there. I'm going to get them to connect with the people that are in that one leg, so that, you know, they start to build those relationships. And now they see that thing grow, so it gets them more motivated to do the things they need to do to eventually start to find their own coaches, you know, start to build their other leg. You guys with me on that? Throw a thumbs up if you guys got that. That like hypothetical bank account, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit about like how to place a coach. So when you sign a coach up, let's say for example, this is you right here. And you have, let's say you're an Emerald coach, right? You're an Emerald, maybe you got like, a couple coaches over here, you got one over here. So you sign a coach up. Where are you going to put that coach? There's only two places you would ever put a coach. One would be right here, or the other option would be right here. Always want to put it on the bottom outside. So bottom outside. You would never want to put a coach here. Why? If you put a coach on the inside leg here, or if you put a coach on the inside leg here, the reason you wouldn't want to put a coach here is because if you put a coach here, it doesn't help this coach right here. If you put a coach here, it doesn't help that coach right there. So you always want to put coaches on the bottom outside. Bottom outside. So every time you put a coach on the bottom outside, it's helping every single person up that leg. It's helping, if you put a coach on this side, bottom outside, it's helping every single coach on that leg. So let's say this is like your right leg here. You put a coach here, that coach benefits, and that coach benefits. It's all helping their right bank account. And on this side, if you put a coach at the bottom outside left, it's helping all of those coaches left hypothetical carryover kind of bank account, right? So now they're starting to get excited. Everyone's benefiting from it, right? So that's why you always want to put a coach on the bottom outside, never on the inside. You guys cool with that? All right. Any questions on that part? So I'm on the inside leg. So here's the thing. I didn't really have an upline that built a leg for me. So I don't like when people complain and say, I don't have anyone that's building one leg for me. Almost every single successful coach I've ever met has not had a leg built for them. It's a blessing in disguise. So this call isn't to talk about what your upline is doing for you. This call is designed for what you're going to do for your coaches. Is that cool? So the only time you're ever going to talk about the fact that you don't have someone that's building a leg for you is only when you're trying to, inspire a coach in your downline that has to build two legs by themselves. How about that for a rule? No complaining about not having someone build a leg for you, because all these successful coaches didn't. But this is cool that we get to do this for our coaches. That's what I'm excited about, okay? So another thing I'll talk about is, as you're doing this, like when you're talking to your coaches, you can tell them, like, let's say you're talking to this coach right here and you bring them into their graphical genealogy and you kind of show them the coaches that are under here. You can tell them that, that whole like, hey, you got to develop those 5 good leaders. We talk about that all the time. You got to develop 2 or 3 good leaders. If you're talking to this coach right here and they see these 3 people here that they didn't sign up, you can tell them that, hey, you know how we always talk about big picture, develop 2 or 3 leaders? Those 2 or 3 leaders don't have to be coaches that you personally sign. They could be one of these coaches right here. So connect with them, reach out to them, start relationships with them. The more relationships that these coaches have with other coaches, the more likely they're going to have success. So what I do is I start a group message with all the coaches on this side. I don't know if it's flipped for you guys, but I'm looking at it. This is the left leg. I put all these coaches on one group message together, and I call it #TeamLefties, because they all know that they're building each other's left leg. Every time one of these coaches signs a coach and puts it at the bottom left, everyone gets excited because they all know that it's helping all of them build their left leg together. And then vice versa, I have a group message for the coaches on this side that's called #TeamRighties. And every time someone signs a coach on the bottom outside right, they add them to that group message and they welcome them, and everyone gets excited. It's really cool that way. So now all these coaches on this group message, they know that they got one monster leg with tons of potential, this bank account that's sitting there, and all they got to do to take advantage of it is find some good coaches for that other side, which is why you want to, put that spouse or significant other on that inside leg to start to build that opposite side. Cool? So that's the group message thing. One other thing I'll do that I like to do for recognition. It's like, I think it's kind of the coolest recognition that we do on our team is it's called the weak leg team volume recognition. Weak leg team volume recognition. So I'll go into the Coach Online office and make a recognition photo of the coaches that have the strongest weak leg. Because a lot of coaches have like one really, really strong leg, but the real income comes from how strong your weakest leg is, because you're only as strong as your weakest leg. So I do a recognition for all the coaches that have over 300 team volume points in their weak leg that week, and I read all their names on the team call, and I call it the 300 club. Then I have a 500 club for all the coaches that had over 500 team volume points on their weak leg, 1,000 club. And you know what? Like, people start to they start to see that, and they start to realize, okay, what's this volume thing? And they pay more attention to it, and they get more excited, and they see, okay, I got one leg that's doing really well. I got this bank account, all this carryover volume that's sitting here. I gotta get my head in the game and start building my other leg. You know what? That was really like a kind of a thing that sparked me to get going with this thing. I had one leg that was starting to grow pretty well because I had my mom and my sister Andrea Wallace was over there, and they were doing pretty well. And I started to get some kind of that hypothetical, that carryover account. All that volume was sitting in this bank account, and I couldn't make any money on it, but it was sitting there waiting for me to take advantage of it by building that other leg. That's what you want to do for your coaches. Build one super rock star leg so they have this bank account sitting there, and that's going to motivate them to build the other side. That's what kind of did it for me. I was like, all right, this is kind of pissing me off that I have this volume sitting over here. I'm going to do whatever it takes to find a good coach on that other side. And I told myself, I said, that bank account, that carryover account is never going to go anywhere, and no one can touch it except for me. And all I got to do to take advantage is find one really good leader on that other side, one really good leader on that weak leg. And guess what happens when you finally find that first good leader on that weak leg? Now there's two of you working to find the next good leader on that weak leg. So you find that next one faster. And now there's three of you working really hard to find the next good leader on that weak leg, and now there's four leaders. And that just kind of blows up. The hardest part is finding that first really good leader on your weak leg. So that's what you want to tell your coaches. You want to get your coaches on a Zoom call, have them share their screen, show them their legs. Hopefully, that you've got a couple coaches under them on one leg, and you tell them that it just comes down to finding that first really good leader on that weak leg. That's what gets the ball rolling. I've never seen a coach quit that had a business builder that was doing really well on their weak leg, because why would they? They never will. That hard part is finding that first one. But if you stay consistent long enough and you have that escalator mindset that I talked about on Monday, it's inevitable that you will find that first good leader. And then the ball starts rolling. Then now there's two of you trying to find the next one. Cool? All right, that's really all I want to talk about. I had a long one yesterday, so I'm going to keep this one really short. But I would definitely do that with your coaches. This is more designed for what you're going to be doing for your coaches. Okay? And start to recognize the coaches that are starting to, build their weak leg too. I think that's such a cool thing that people start to notice, on that recognition. Did I miss anything? I did a call with Raina. I did a Zoom call with her, and kind of talked to her a little bit about this. I had her kind of share her downline. I think it helped. Did I miss anything there, Raina? I think I hit everything. That's all I got. Oh, last thing, when I tell them, hey, it's going to come down to finding that one good leader on the weak leg, I also say, it doesn't have to be personally sponsored. So sometimes you're going to have to dig deep for your leaders. And what does that mean? Dig for your diamonds. Be a diamond digger. What that means is, as you have that you're building that one strong leg for your coach, tell them that, again, I know I sound like a broken record, but it's going to come down to have them finding that first good leader on their weak leg, right? And tell them that it doesn't have to be personally sponsored, but I said that already, but they can dig for their diamonds. So let's say they sign someone up on their weak leg that's kind of in and out, like a 4 on a scale of 1 to 10 as far as engagement, but they bring someone into the business that's a 5. That's where your attention goes. You go work with that 5. And then you work with that 5, and that 5 brings in someone who's at a 6 in the engagement. Then you go work with that 6. And then that 6 gets excited. They bring in a 7. Then you go work with that 7. So on and so forth. And you know what's going to happen as you do that? Let's say that's the 5, and you work with the 5, and they bring in a 6, and then the 6 brings in a 7, and the 7 brings in an 8. Guess what happens when you work with this 8? Guess what these other 3 coaches do? they get so excited. This coach isn't your personally sponsored coach. This coach is like 3 or 4 levels deep, right? But you go down there and you work with that coach that's willing, it's going to get them fired up. And all these coaches that are the 2 levels down and 1 and 3 levels down, they're going to notice that and they're going to get excited, and it's going to have this ripple effect all the way up through your downline. It's pretty cool. I think I just have a call coming in. Cool? Any questions on that stuff? Nada? All right. That's all I got. I got to hop on a team call in a little bit, but I'm going to bounce back in here and answer some questions and hook you guys up. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. Hope that helps.